right, guys, we are back. Today, what we're going to be discussing is really it's about being part of a team. We've covered the building the team and everything, but what is it like being part of one? So I guess the first question I've got is for you, Eric. What are the qualities you think are essential for team members who are working in a fast-paced startup?
All the qualities. That's what I would say.
All the qualities you can find.
All of them.
I would say that the one quality that matters is if they're a team player, meaning they will go out of they can take the vision, go out of their way, and pick up a bunch of pieces that are even outside of what their role is or role should be. And they are not just a clock in, clock out. They will go beyond that and be willing to add quality to the project. Like be willing to offer up their ideas and not be afraid to innovate. That's what I would say. There you go.
Aaron, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, communication is always a big thing. So you want to make sure
That's true.
people aren't going to flake out on communication. Everything falls apart. There's a John Maxwell quote. It says, everything rises and falls in leadership. I'm like, I've always wanted to add to that, and communication. Because everything can just quit the moment people stop communicating. And that's generally where things start to go south. And that can happen for a variety of reasons. But what I have found more often than not, people stop communicating because they get uncomfortable. And this, I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I don't know if it's just where we are, it's a society, but it's like, if I don't really want to get confrontational or if I feel things are going to get edgy, I'll just stop communicating altogether. And so you get this ghosting type thing that happens. And it's frustrating because a lot of the time it's not anything severe, but you have to be able to have good communication, and that includes hard conversations in there. And if people aren't willing to do that, things will just come to a stop real quick. So that's a big thing I'm always conscious of.
What about you, Yemi? What is your experience with being on a team, being a part of one?
I'd say communication and clearly communicated expectations are going to be the biggest thing. I've worked in places where over communication, which is a good thing, I felt. Some may perceive it as micromanaging, but I just like to know expectations. And then I've worked in other places where it was like I was expected to be a mind reader, and oh, you should have known that. Well, you didn't say that. You said this was this, and this was in writing, and that was that.
Yeah.
So, you're, to your point, like communication is going to be key. Really, I think being part of a team, you've got to jump in and kind of treat it like it was your own business, and I guess it comes with, there's a sense of values too. Depending on your values, you may work as though, I know that, in biblical perspective, you work as unto God, the Lord. And with that, there comes this level of this expectation of being excellent. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take that ownership.
I like that.
So yeah, I definitely with you guys on those things. So I guess that kind of goes into, how do you promote a sense of ownership and accountability among team members? When I joined the team, as a contractor, and a decision was made to bring me on, in a more ownership type of role. And so in my, from my perspective, I know that I worked as though this was my company. I treated it as though Clean Space was mine. And, what about you guys? How do you, Aram, you have a company, you've built teams and everything. How do you work? How do you foster that sense of ownership and accountability?
Yeah. It depends a little bit to some degree on what the business is, what the project is, but I think in order for someone to feel like they have some ownership, they have to feel like they can actually come to the given owner, in my case, for a cleaning company, whatever it is, they have to be able to approach me with just about anything. So if there's any sort of tension there where they're like, he doesn't show up very often, or he doesn't, we don't have a lot of good communication, we don't talk to him much, then it's going to be hard for them to feel that they have any sort of authority or ownership in their own work, because there is a clearly defined, like, sure, we all want to have ownership, but I obviously run the company. And so if there's any tension where I may be a little bit too far off, or I'm like not approachable, or I don't, I'm not easy to get a hold of, that really affects any employee, past that. So now, obviously, as your company grows, that changes a little bit. You can't be immediately accessible to every employee in a 1,000-person company all the time, right? So like there are dynamics that shift there, but particularly in the early stages, I think it's important, in a small and growing team, that the actual ownership has a lot of the people that are working with them have a lot of access to the owners. So that's a starting place, and then from that, by building that relatability, you can engender a sense of accountability and ownership in people as you're praising them for what they did good, but also critiquing them when they need it, and just making sure they understand, look, you might have fallen short here, but I'm bringing it up because I know you can do really, really good work. I've seen you do good work, and you need to, you have the capability to do that. So you have to encourage people in that way. And that's hard to do if you're a very, very distant figure, especially at the early stages. So.
And Eric, as far as your in your past, as far as running companies and everything like that, what would how have you run into this, or how have you been part of teams that made you feel like you had a sense of ownership and they were great at, helping you with accountability?
I have a sense of ownership of my work, meaning the work that I am assigned to do or I have been assigned to do. A sense of ownership for the company, I haven't ever really felt, except for my own company that I've started or projects I've done. But inside of like a project, if I'm given a task or something to do, and I have the freedom to be able to, within a certain boundary, but I have the freedom to do whatever I want to do, but I just have to get this task done. It doesn't matter how I get it done, as long as I get it done. And I have that creative freedom to be able to do that, then I do have a sense of ownership over that, and I feel good about it. Like I've done something for the team. I've, this is my thing. This is how I solve the problem. And this is it. And if that is just one block that helps the the whole machine keep running and fixes an issue, then I feel good about that. It's like I contributed, and I'm ready for the next thing. And I think, the big thing about starting your own thing is it's really like it's that perspective. When you have a team, you want to, just because you might own a majority of the company, technically, you should see yourself as you should see yourself as an employee. Everyone's on the same level playing field. We're all trying to get this thing off the ground, get this thing going. And you have to be willing to kind of stay in your lane and just huddle down and focus on what you can contribute and within your own means, within your own boundaries, and just hyper focus on that and do that. Um, and then you have to be able to delegate the rest of the stuff to those other people that might be able to, and give them the freedom to do the same thing. And yeah, you open yourself up to being stabbed in the back and stuff, but that's why you pick a good team. That's why you vet the people and you make sure that those starting people are the ones that you actually trust to give those things to. And, sometimes delegate things out to third parties or whatever, and they don't really come through in the time frame that you want them to, or that they tell you to. And you have to learn how to maneuver around that. And, you don't hold it against your team for delegating that out. They did a good job doing that. It's not their fault. But, you have to figure out how to keep things going, even if it's temporary.
Excellent. And so with that, with that sense of ownership and accountability, how are you, each of you ensuring that the team members understand and align with the organizational mission and the vision?
Well, I first think you have to make sure you have a organizational mission vision that can be aligned.
That's fair.
So like you have to start there because if you don't have one, then you have to worry about alignment. So pros and cons. So formulating that takes some
Time.
it takes some time and all like it's purposeful. Like
And it takes some falling
genuinely-
down too, getting back up.
Yeah, you're gonna play around a little bit and find that, and it's probably not going to just show up organically. Like after you've been through some stuff, you're gonna have to sit down and be like, okay, hey, cool, what are we about here? What are we doing? But yeah, initially you've got to start there, and then it just depends on how often you reference that and how much you bring it up, whether that's a weekly, quarterly, annually thing. Like it's going to be top of mind for people that if you've got it well placed within your organization, right? And it's accessible and everybody knows it. If it's a very, very rare occurrence that you mention these things, then people probably aren't going to be aligned with it because they don't know about it. So, yeah.
But yeah, a lot of my ideas personally have always come from the main mission of wanting to change the world but build something that, I don't know, sounds corny, but build something that loves people and like an organization that is around just how can I help you, in your life? How can I be kind to you? I don't know what that is. I mean, I think companies that should be the heart of every company. And that includes the employees. You're there for the employees' families. You're there for your customer families. You're there for people. And yeah, you're making money in the process and you're providing a great service or a great product. And that's the idea. Providing a service to help those people, to help your customers, a product that helps your customers. And how best can you create something that is going to do that? What about you? What do you think about that question?
I think it goes back to communication, and like Aram said, you've got to have the mission and the vision in place. But when I just look at, when I joined the team, I knew the initial idea and the goal of where we wanted to go. And so that was very clear. So everything, my lens was, okay, we can do this now. How is this going to feed into the organizational future a couple years from now? How is this going to move us along the path to that, to that destination?
Mm.
And a lot of that is just because I knew, conversations with you, conversations with Aram, where the company, where we want the company to go. And even in, Aram's got another venture that, that I come on board with occasionally. I know where he wants to go with that. And so my actions, on the day to day are with that in mind. Because if you've got someone who is, they're looking for a 30-year career, and your goal is, look, when I hit this point, whether it's, 5 years or 10 years, I'm wanting to move along. Well, that needs to be communicated. That needs to know so everyone can manage your expectations.
Right.
Have you ever come across any challenges like that you've encountered in terms of trying to communicate with whoever you're trying to communicate with, or anything like that? And how did that get handled?
I worked for a company, and the head of the company was pretty well known. They were kind of a celebrity on reality TV and everything.
Mm.
This person had one of their family members in a leadership role, and there's no way, like, I wouldn't hire this person to run a lemonade stand. And it wasn't that, because it wasn't aptitude. It wasn't aptitude. It was the fact of attitude and just zero people skills. And then also, and I don't know how much of that was natural versus like the result of just the brain damage from all the substances they used.
Mm.
So you ask questions about the future, and you just never know what you were going to get with that, on that day. Yeah. And it was like you were in this suspended terror. And then at that point, it no longer became about like, I want to be here and do the best job. It's like, I just want to do enough to not get fired while I look for a job, like another job on my day off. That's what it became.
Just trying to stay afloat.
Yeah. Just, I want
Yikes.
to do enough so that you don't notice me. You don't say anything to me. I don't have to interact with you. and then we move on.
Good time.
Yeah, so it's like coming to you guys. It's refreshing because you both communicate clearly. You're very like blunt. I would say just direct. It's very direct communication. There's nothing ambiguous. Like, oh, what did he mean by that? Like, oh, was he in the mood? Like, no. Like, 2 + 2 is 4. That's what it is. Let's go. And I respect and appreciate that because it's just clear, man. Like, you can focus on what it is that you're doing without that, having to manage the.
Yeah. It really all comes down to communication. It seems like that seems to be the theme.
Yeah.
In a startup phase like this, pretty much everybody is a leader in their own lane, and you just everyone needs to communicate. Everyone needs to let everyone know. And if there's something you can't do or you can't get something done, then you need to let the person know because the whole team takes a hit. If you don't,
100%.
Yep. No bueno.
Yeah. 100%. All right, guys. So it's time for lightning round.
Oh, lightning round. Okay.
Yeah, lightning round.
No mascots. Okay. No mascots.
No mascots. All right. So let's do this. If you could have any celebrity join the team for a day, who would it be and in which role?
Robin Williams, if he was still alive.
Oh, we can pick living and non-living.
Well, I just did, so.
Wow. Oh man, that's like expands the selection.
And what
I mean,
role? He would just be the mascot.
Robin Williams would be the mascot.
Yeah, he would be
What
there.
is it, just an outfire or what? What's
Just
the
most enhanced marketing campaigns ever.
Yeah, dude.
So I was going to say some like modern, very popular figure, like Taylor Swift or something, strictly for like a ad placement. But I don't know.
Oh no, morale. We like morale boosters. So
okay. So Robin Williams for morale boost. Swift or something like
Jackie Chan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what role to put a celebrity in that would be beneficial outside of like, hey, use this product, use this app for our ad, and as long as we could if we could just get them, like if that was all it was, then that would be hugely beneficial from a placement standpoint. So,
oh, want to go the technical route? Okay.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Well, like, what are you gonna put him in like head of product? Like probably not. Like you run HR, like no. So yeah, it's funny to think about. What about you? Yeah, I mean, who are you picking here? What's your celebrity pick?
You already mentioned her, but I would put Taylor Swift in every ad we have.
Okay, see, yeah, it's like it's an easy win.
Taylor Swift, Patrick Mahomes, like somebody, just
somebody.
Or even, I would get a Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce like series of ads going. Like
okay.
Wow.
Yes.
Bank it.
Yep. That's what we would do. So, all right, guys. Well, that's our time. I appreciate you guys gathering and until next time.
We'll do it again.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.